Hi, this is Hannah.
And this is Charu.
Welcome to episode 2, Not a High School Musical. Today we'll be talking about our experiences in high school, some misconceptions, and give our advice to current and future students.
Hello everyone. Welcome to our second episode. So Hannah and I met in our freshman year of high school, and we have had very different experiences going through it all, and we wanted to take the time today to dive deep into them. So I guess to start off, just very vague, what was high school like for you, Hannah?
For me, it was a mixture of all of the above of emotions, I guess, or verbs, or not verbs, adjectives to describe my experience. I don't think there's one word that can describe it, because there are a lot of different experiences, like even through the people you meet, the classes you take, the there's just a vast amount of different experiences in high school that I cannot pinpoint a word to. I would just say interesting.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Interesting sounds about right. Yeah, I think mine mine was on a spectrum of happy sad, I think, is how I would put it, where there were
Mhm.
moments that were wonderful and that I will cherish probably for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
others that, I don't mind forgetting them and like letting them go. Um,
Mhm.
but overall, like I enjoyed high school. I'm one of those kids who really appreciated my high school experience, and I didn't come out of it absolutely hating every second of those
Mm.
4 years.
Mhm.
Because I know I have a few friends who just don't want to think about high school at all.
Mhm.
But I genuinely enjoyed high school. So
Mm.
yeah.
That's kind of refreshing to hear, because I know that a couple of people from, at least from our school district, who, like, whenever we talk about high school, it's just like we're glad we're out of there, and like it wasn't something that they're very fond of.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting and I guess refreshing is the word to hear when someone says that they actually enjoyed their experience in high school. Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is due to the fact that I did what I wanted to do without very much external pressure when
Mm.
it came to, maintaining grades. Like I mostly put the pressure on myself. I didn't have
Mhm.
any pressure coming from my parents,
Mhm.
or I never, yes, I'm a competitive student. I like doing my best in my classes, but not to the point where that's all I'm doing.
Mhm.
Even though it may seem like that sometimes. But I think, yeah, my friends, like the friend circle that I had and some of the teachers that I had really, I guess, elevated my high school experience to be a very, I wouldn't say homely all the way through. Like there are parts of high school that, yeah, I don't want to go back to that, like
Mhm.
the environment of, oh, if you don't get this grade, then you're not smart enough or whatever. Like I don't need that kind of energy.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think it's just the people that I was with really
Mm.
made it wonderful. Um, and I'm glad that I'm still in touch with some of them. Just because we got much closer than others over the 4 years and after like we graduated and everything.
Mhm.
But yeah, community, they make it or break it, I think.
Yeah. I think for me that's probably a reason why high school isn't necessarily a I wouldn't say it's not a fond memory, because there are many like memories from high school that like I still hold on to. But I tend to not think about high school a lot and try to, this sounds really cheesy, but like make new memories. But yeah, that just sounds really cheesy. But um, yeah, like I don't really think about high school a lot. But I think about high school in a way where like I compare how much I've grown since high school and grown in like um, how I think about things and how, okay, never mind. I don't know where to go from there, but yeah,
Yeah.
like for me, I didn't really have that strong sense of like school community and my 11th and 12th grade year, like ninth and 10th grade. um, we had our little friend group and lunch and all that, and then since 11th and 12th we all had different schedules and different classes. It was really hard for all of us to have lunch together, so I didn't really have that sense of community from school. um, yeah, because I remember my senior year of lunch. It was a couple of friends here and there who just came and sat, and we just ate lunch together.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so it was a different dynamic. I think that's the word. Different, yeah, different dynamic between like ninth and 10th
Mhm.
to 11th and 12th, but mainly 12th. Yeah, just because I did not, yeah, it was also because I knew who I didn't want to surround myself with.
Yeah.
Um, like I knew that if I was around people who just talked about school, I guess I'll just be really miserable because I'm not the person to really talk about school, but if I like look back at the conversations I had during lunch with whoever I was eating with, it will be like talking about stories from work or stories about different things that happened during school and um, yeah, just stories and like talking about different experiences and not just talking about school or gossiping about people. So I think that's also why it was a little harder for me to find a good community or
Mhm.
find a sense of community at our high school
Right.
because a lot of people were kind of like that. And I didn't find the people who kind of fit what, or there were, I know that there's more people who had the same mentality as me, but I just couldn't find them.
Find them. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what I wouldn't say broke it for me, but like kind of the foundation of my thoughts about high school.
Mm.
Um, and I'm not saying that I didn't have supportive people or I didn't have like friends in high school or like good friends because I did. Like, but it wasn't just a like the ideal that people have of having like a group of friends all together. It wasn't like that. And I think that was the ideal I had in my head. Like
Yeah.
I want all these friends around me and we're just,
Right.
or not all, like a couple of us just like
Mhm.
actually hanging out
Yeah.
and talk even though we don't have school or we don't have classes together.
Right.
So yeah, that
Yeah.
was just bouncing off of what you were saying about community.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. I agree. I guess I was lucky in the sense that every single year I basically went through high school with the same group of like 4 or 5 people starting my freshman year. And I think I was lucky that even if we didn't have a class together, we would have lunch together, or we would
Mhm.
make it a point to see each other outside of school.
Mhm.
Because I guess, yeah, you and we never really hung out much outside
Mhm.
of school because I'm not sure why.
I
Not
think
sure.
we were
I
just
think we were just busy with,
yeah.
we had different schedules. You were working and doing those things. I had my extracurriculars, and
Mhm.
weekends just never seemed to work out for the two of us.
Yeah.
But um, one of my friends, actually two of my friends at that time, like they were basically neighbors, so we would, meet up at the park, or one of them would come over and we would just kind of hang out and watch TV shows together,
Mhm.
um, or movies together, and we got close that way. And I think having that same group of friends all through high school really helped, because I knew there was going to be a set of familiar faces that I could go to for anything, no matter what. And I
Mhm.
knew that our conversations would be more than just academics.
Mhm.
I guess junior year was the, like, I wouldn't say loneliest, but it was when I had the smallest group of friends during
Mhm.
lunch, and it was basically just you and another guy, and one other person like joined us halfway through. But of the four of us, it was just you and I that really kept the conversation going, because we had already known each other.
Mhm.
And I think that was the probably the quietest lunch experience I've had.
Mm.
And then I think I had my orchestra community. Even though I
Mhm.
wasn't close in that sense, I was so passionate, and so I guess I enjoyed orchestra so much that I basically made it my second home.
Mhm.
And I knew that I could find a familiar face or two in the orchestra room anytime I
Mhm.
went in and just kind of strike up a random conversation with someone. I think that helped a
Mm.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me, I don't think so. Yes, like in regards of community, I think having you as like a really good friend throughout high school, like I cherish that a lot. And I think that even though I didn't have a like a strong community or a community at school, like I had a really good community at my church. Like I had my youth group and these other senior girls, or not senior girls, we're not seniors anymore. Other girls my year that we were really close. So I think that yeah, and our little small group community with our leader, like that was what like a community that helped me through high school too. Um, though it wasn't like I didn't see them at school, and they like none of them went to our school.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah. Which
yeah,
is understandable. I consider myself lucky to have had that. I don't think
mm,
very many find that sense of community within their high
mm,
schools. And I don't I don't know if it's a very common thing that happens, and I think
mm-hmm,
that I was just blessed to have that small group of friends that I just
mm,
kind of went along
yeah.
rode the waves with.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm
Um,
really grateful for the friends I made along the way in high school and in school in general. And also I'm really grateful for the friends like I still have and have made through the different things that I was in and I continue to be in. Um yeah. I'm just really grateful for all the friendships that
yeah.
I've made in school or out of school. Yeah, and I'm really grateful. I know I'm saying the word grateful a lot, but I'm really grateful for these friends and because our conversations aren't about like GPA or
Yeah.
like um focused on our grades or yeah, but all the conversations that we do have are life-giving and they are, I would say, healthy.
Mhm.
Um
Yeah, and I think another thing, when you say healthy, yes, having that sense of um, like a healthy type of encouragement around you,
mhm,
rather than like a toxic environment of, like I mentioned earlier, oh, if you didn't get this grade, you're not smart enough type. Like none of us had that, because we were
mhm,
all um, different in what we found our strengths in. And
Mm-hmm.
none of us shamed the other for that particular reason. I think not having that kind of toxic like competitiveness in that sense
Mm-hmm.
really also made the friend group much more motivating and encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
And they, all of y'all were always supportive in whatever came through or whatever each of us was going through,
Mm-hmm.
and gave that sense of a like, yeah, I guess it was just a good push, or like a good push forward, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
is what I'm trying to say with the friends that we had.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Neither of us was trying to bring the other down, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah. And like we were all like we didn't only care about our grades and we didn't
Yes.
only care about our own self.
Yes.
And I think that's one thing about having so much competition. It just feels like everybody is just grabbing onto whatever they can. And it almost seems like if everyone was kind of out for themselves and pushing other people down. But in some ways, it wasn't like that. But,
Yeah.
or like in general of the high school. But I think that's what happens when GPA is focused on a lot.
Yeah. It was, it's an environment that some people will thrive in and
Yeah.
others will struggle to get through. And I think it just depends on the mindset that you have
Mm-hmm.
and how you have prioritized the importance of your academics, your social well-being, your mental well-being. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you need to understand where the priorities lie, and if you have
Yeah.
that balance to some extent,
Yeah.
I think it was a manageable environment. I think
Mm-hmm.
like a healthy, manageable environment.
No, I think like everybody from um our high school, like they do like everybody like a lot of people are successful and a lot of people like do well at
Yeah.
our school and a lot of people like we all graduated.
Yes. Yeah.
um but whether or not like we enjoyed the time and enjoyed the environment we were in
Yeah.
is very different for everybody.
Yes.
um
How we look back on high school, I think, depends on how well balanced you were during high school.
mm-hmm.
I think. I think is maybe where I'm getting at. I don't know because I feel like I eventually ended up to a point where I had a decently balanced list of priorities. Yes, of course, there were times when I was just like going nuts over not doing so well on a test or something like that. But at the end of the day, I realized that, okay, it's just one grade,
Mm-hmm.
it's fine. And then we went on with life. And now I can look back
Mm-hmm.
and really appreciate the moments that I had that were very good, and
Mm-hmm.
realize that, okay, I have grown from that frantic, grade driven.
But yeah, I just remember like when we first met, I remember that grades were a pretty big priority for you. I'm not
Yeah,
saying that that's a bad thing,
I know.
but yeah, but then after a while when we got like to know each other more, I think slowly you chipped that away and like realized that like grades like they don't define who you are.
Yeah,
I mean, you're this phrase that grades don't define who you are is something that I say a lot. So probably I might say this over and over again in this episode. I don't know. But yeah, like you realize that and like use like even now to this day in college, like even yes, like grades do matter in the sense of like we need to get a good grade so
yeah,
like we can pass this class and or like we can get into grad school or
yeah,
um all these things, but like that doesn't it's not the end all be all to your
right.
life. Yeah.
And
So,
that is still something that I have to consciously think about. It doesn't come naturally to me because my first instinct when okay, so when it's a class that I have studied for really hard and then I don't get the grade that I wanted or thought I would have, then it really takes me a good amount of time to like come back to that. It's okay, it's one grade. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. When it's a completely like terrible class and I'm out here getting a 30 on a quiz, I'm like, great, I passed. I got some points. Not even passed, I got some points.
yeah.
So it just, I think the context for me really makes a difference. And it takes a lot of conscious effort for me to remember that grades are not what define me and that there is more to a person than how they're doing in their first 4 years of undergraduate programs. Like 30 years from now, no one's going to care.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like on the topic of grades, like I think one good thing that I think like or good saying that kind of got me through high school too, and like not focus on my grade so much is my parents told me like my parents didn't pressure me of like or didn't get mad at me if I got a bad grade or anything. No, they weren't like that. They're like I'm really grateful that they weren't. And I always remember my dad saying this to me. Like, he said that, and he still says this to this day. Like, if you tried your best, then it's okay. Like, you tried your best, and that's all that's worth. Like, or that's all that matters, right? Like, if you didn't try your best, then yeah, you deserve that. Like, yeah. But like, you tried your best, so that, yeah.
Yeah. You still give me that talk every now and then when I'm complaining about a test grade. You're like, did you try your best? I'm like, yes. And you're like, then stop worrying about it.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I tell a lot of people, like, or basically everybody who, I'm not trying to downplay the emotion or downplay the disappointment that comes with getting a bad grade because yes, we all like we're human. Human. Why did I pronounce it so weirdly? We're human. Like we do get disappointed and especially when we like poured out many hours studying or we are really passionate about a subject and then we get a like a bad grade it makes us think like oh is this not fit for me and all that so yes it's okay that to get disappointed over it but like, yeah I'm not trying to say that it's not okay but the grand scheme of everything or like the big picture of grades it's like a not your end all be all and b like if you tried your best, then that's what should matter. So I think this fits. I think this also kind of fits to our last point of this podcast, like of advice we would give. But I will draw that in later. But yeah, I think that's what also got me through high school and not having that mindset where my grades were everything and GPA was so important and all that. Like, yeah, like did I graduate with the perfect GPA or really good high GPA? No, because that I didn't care like I didn't care to the point where that was my purpose or that was my identity.
Yeah.
Like yes, I cared because then I would be able to get into college. But I didn't really care too much aside from that. Yeah, it wasn't my life.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think like I realized that's also a mindset that you had too, where it wasn't like your life, like your grades and GPA wasn't your life, your main identity. And I think that's what set us apart from some people from our high school. And that's probably why our experiences were so interesting because we didn't think like a lot of people from our high school did.
Yeah.
Or it seemed like we didn't. So
right. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sure there were more of us aside from like the two of us and our like small circle of friends.
Yeah.
Like we just didn't end up meeting these people and yeah. But I agree, yes. I guess on a slightly lighter note, what would you say was your favorite class in high school? Or so we could either do favorite class or favorite memory. Up to you.
My favorite classes are because of favorite memories.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I guess my favorite class was, wait, are we talking about ninth, 10th, or 11th, 12th?
Okay, let's do both. So let's step because so just to those who aren't familiar with the way our school district worked, usually in other school districts, just 9 through 12 is all in one high school, but ours decided to split it up to where 9 and 10 was junior high and 11 and 12 was senior high. I guess in junior high or in ninth and 10th, what were your favorite classes / favorite memories?
Okay, so my favorite class was my ninth grade English class, just because like our teacher was so cool, and like that's where our like friend group, and that's where me and you met, and like and all that, and those are like really fun memories, um like our Secret Santa, and like taking pictures together and with our teacher, and with making or giving presents to our teacher, and um, yeah, just that whole memory of, or all those memories that through that class, like it's just the best. um, what else in ninth and 10th? Um, Sometimes I forget what I even took.
um,
um,
you would have had, let's see, you would have had choir, chem, bio, principles of health.
okay, yeah. So I think English in ninth grade was the main favorite. I loved choir for like just because I was passionate about it, and the teacher, she was great. I loved her. I don't know if there were many memories. Yeah, I don't really have that many like memories that stand out to me besides like me being able to like at the end of the year, ninth and 10th grade years, we would make a group, and we had this like music video project where we had to either film a music video uh, of a cover of a song, or like perform a cover of a song in class. And like those were like my favorite memories because we like got to choose like who we worked with and choose like what songs we did, and it was so great. I love that. And like yeah, I think that's it for ninth and 10th. I do have like favorite teachers
Yeah.
from ninth and 10th, but not necessarily the classes, but favorite teachers, yes. 11th and 12th. I mean, you want to share your ninth and 10th first, and then we can go on to
Okay, yeah,
11th and 12th. Yeah, I've been
sure.
talking too much. I
Oh my
talk a
gosh,
lot.
relax. This is a podcast. We're here to talk.
Yeah.
I guess ninth and 10th, yes, of course, English. That was where I guess I met you for the first time in English, and a lot of the other people that I am still close with today. We all just kind of bonded over our chaotic energy in English. Um, and then, of course, orchestra. There, um, I had orchestra with one of my closest friends, and so we kind of moved up in orchestras together, and so we were on the same wavelength when it came to things, and that just made the class so much more enjoyable. And of course, our director, he was absolutely amazing and such a kind and just encouraging teacher. Um, and I think that's where I found that, oh, I really enjoy being in orchestra and I feel like I can make a difference when I became like an orchestra officer my sophomore year. And that really pulled me into this community that I didn't know I could find.
Mm.
So orchestra, and then like, I had favorite teachers all throughout my uh, honors chemistry professor, honors chemistry teacher, um, My world history teacher, she was very sweet. My geometry teacher was great.
Yes.
It
We all love her.
was so fun. I had some good memories in my French class. But yeah, ninth and 10th grade, there were a lot of good classes that I took, that I genuinely enjoyed having. And I think a lot of it was because of the teacher.
Yeah.
Because I didn't, I think having a teacher that I could just, after class, I would just go up and like talk to them. Not in a, I wanted to be the teacher's pet kind of a way, but I just wanted to talk to people.
Yeah.
And kind of get away from the nitty-gritty of the like, oh, what grade did you get on this? What grade did you get on that? Like, I just wanted to get away from that and like, just make my way to the teacher's desk and be like, hi, what's up? Do you need help with anything? And just kind of strike up a conversation. And I know I had several of those with my history and my chemistry teacher, 10th grade. I think English and orchestra, like those two really top it off when it comes to like favorite memories that really stand out. And then teachers also includes history and chemistry. And then I guess 11th and 12th grade, again, orchestra. Like both of the directors, they were basically my school parents. Because I know I cried, like I bawled my eyes out on the last day of high school because I didn't want to leave orchestra. And they both literally had to tell me to be quiet because I wasn't going anywhere.
No.
They were like, you're literally going to be going to school 20 minutes away. Relax.
True.
But yeah, orchestra, and then I think orchestra was probably my favorite class. Like all in all, like favorite memories, favorite class. And then I had favorite teachers, my AP Bio teacher, and
Oh, yes.
she had the cutest little axolotl. Okay.
Yeah.
And French, my French teacher was also great. What else did I take?
What was the axolotl's name again?
It was either Mushu or Noodles. I don't remember which. Because didn't they change it after
I
our
think
year?
they did.
Yeah. I don't remember. I feel like we decided on Mushu for our year.
Yeah, and then after our year was Noodle.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
Yeah.
I was very proud of that
clearly
name.
The better name.
I was really proud of the Noodle name because I remember we were writing down like ideas for the names, and in our class period, or from my class period, we had wrote Mushu and Noodle, and Mushu had won in our class, and I think it won in your class too.
Probably, yeah.
But I was rooting for Noodle because I loved that name, and then I was so happy when like I was told that after we graduated, the axolotl's name was Noodle. I was like, wow, I made it.
Your legacy carried on.
Okay, yeah, that's so unrelated. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I don't think junior year just kind of was meh. It was not the most memorable year, I don't think. Aside from orchestra, what did I? Because yeah, physics sucked. I did not like physics at all. I guess my calc teacher, my pre-cal and calc teachers were very sweet, fun people. At least on my end. So yeah, my calc and pre-cal teachers, I had good experiences with both of them. And the class, like I think my calc period, it was extremely fun because I was in a class full of juniors and they were all just smart, talented people. And because some of the people in that class, oh my gosh, it made me think, I'm like, was I like that when I was a junior? And I'm like, I hope not. But it made the class so much more enjoyable. But yeah, But I think orchestra just kind of tops it all the way through from ninth up until 12th for me. And like the spring trips that we went on, all of it. Just, yeah. I think classical
Jealous.
orchestra.
I'm
Boring.
jealous.
Yeah. What about your 11th and 12th?
Yeah, so for mine, 11th grade would be my pre-calc teacher. Oh my goodness, she was so nice, and like she would try to make our experience really worthwhile. I guess that's the word. She really cared about her students, and she was going to be leaving after our year, so I couldn't take her again for another class next year. And I remember the day, either on our last day of school with her, like half of the class was crying because, like, including me, like I was crying because she was just really nice, and she was honestly, like, you rarely get to meet teachers who care so deeply for their students, and um, who actually want to get or see you succeed and want to get to know you at the same time. And she was so patient with us, and she would make us laugh and all of that. And yeah, she was honestly like one of the more memorable teachers I had. Um, what else in 11th? Yeah, my wait, no. 11th was physics. I keep forgetting that AP Bio was 12th grade.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I guess my favorite class, just for the class itself, for the content of the class, was my clinical rotations class, where we got to go to different medical settings to shadow and to observe. And I was in it for 11th and 12th grade, and it was my favorite just because I got to realize what my passion was, and realize that I wanted to go become a speech pathologist, because not a lot of people know about it, and I never knew about it until I was given the opportunity, or the first time I went to shadow one was because I was assigned it, and I never knew like what it was until I saw it the first time, and then I kept picking to go to shadow a speech pathologist because I absolutely loved it, and like it encompassed a lot of the things I was passionate about, like kids and like um, making people's voices be heard and people being able to communicate. And like if it wasn't for the clinical rotations program, I don't think I would ever had found this career, right? Like
Yeah.
before I like a lot of people I tell, like, oh, I'm majoring in speech language pathology. A lot of people are like, wait, what's that? Like no one knows about it unless they've been in speech therapy or know somebody in the speech therapy field.
Yeah.
Or yeah, just a very like not a well-known career. Yeah, so that's why that's my favorite class. Yeah, and then senior year, my AP Bio, there are a lot of good memories in that class. And it was also because the teacher was so like I loved her. She was so great. Like
Yeah.
she was also another teacher who cared about her students and
Yeah.
cared like didn't care about like um or more like she would make content fun instead of just spewing information out, and she would tell stories and all of that.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
yeah, we all loved it.
Yeah.
um who else or what else? What other classes were there? Yeah, and some of my other favorite high school memories were like just hanging out as friends and like going to like or like eating lunch together and like going to our makeshift prom our senior year, And yeah, I'm trying to remember. I don't want to make anybody feel bad, or like I don't want to
I
like
know.
leave out something that
Yeah,
like completely for like that was so like I had good memories of.
yeah,
I'm probably gonna go to bed tonight and be like, oh frick,
I
I should
know.
have said this.
Yeah.
um
Yeah, as I finished talking and as I was listening to you, like I had other memories replaying in my head, and I'm like, I they all fall under the category of orchestra.
mm,
um, uh, I guess as you were mentioning, teachers who really cared and supported their students and wanted them to succeed, my orchestra directors were very much like that,
mm,
where they they were just ready. Their doors were always open
mm,
to come in and talk to them about anything and everything, whether it was orchestra related or not,
mm,
because I spent a good amount of my junior and senior years sitting in one of the orchestra director's office when I didn't have class. And yeah, orchestra had a really good lot of like, it's just a good time.
mm-hmm,
Lots of good memories and lots of things that I think back to. And I'm like, these directors did not have to do those things for me. Especially
mm-hmm.
the one particular one that I'm thinking of right now. Like, he did so much for me that I'm like, why? You didn't have to. Um, those are the kind of things that at that moment, like, yes, I felt very grateful at that moment, but now looking back,
Mhm,
I'm like, it's just so bizarre that someone would do that
mm,
for another student
mhm.
when they have so many other things on their plate.
Yeah,
And moments like that are really what make teachers my favorite.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, I I miss them a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we can move on to our next question. Um, to some misconceptions about high school that we had, like going into ninth grade. Um, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if these were misconceptions that I particularly had, but I can, looking back on conversations that I've had with some of my cousins who are all abroad, they all have this idea that high school in America is a time of just fun and parties and dances and games. Maybe it was just my high school that wasn't like that. I don't know how other high schools are in other places, but from what I experienced, that was not what high school was. It was not just always, oh, here's some drama going on. Here's a little bit of gossip, and now we're all going to go to a party and have more drama and gossip. Like it. First of all, I'm not that kind of a person who will go to parties and like kind of follow
Yeah.
the drama because I could not care less about the drama. Um, but yeah, high school is, at least from what I experienced, it's not always fun and games. You should put your best foot forward to try your best in your classes and strive to be the best that you can. But I think something that I slowly caught on to as the years went on was, as we've mentioned several times earlier, grades aren't all that matters. You need to find, even if it's just one other person, find that one friend that you know you can talk to, you know you can hang out, and make make the most of it. Make the most of your high school experience. I think we're combining misconceptions and advice here,
Mhm,
but I guess one quick piece of advice: make the most of your high school experience.
mm,
I think is what I would say, very
mm.
vaguely.
Yeah, I think for me going into high school, because I'm the youngest, so I had like other siblings who've been in high school and tell me all these things. So for me, I think one misconception I had before going into high school was, um, I wouldn't say it was a misconception. It was partial. It's a partial truth. Where I'm blanking. Do I even have any misconceptions? Hold up. I mean, I guess like a preconceived notion or about high school was like you're never gonna get enough sleep and like you have to stay up grinding your homework and like you have to like do all these things and you're blah 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 blah. I mean, part of it is true. Like, you are gonna have less sleep than like middle school, and like you are gonna have more work and you have to work harder. But like, I mean, yes, it was kind of rough, but there is partial truth to that. But I mean, like, I think tying it into advice, um, balance. That's a big thing for students in general, is that, especially in high school and college, but in high school is when we first learn how to do this, like how to balance the different aspects of whatever's going on. So like in high school, it would be mainly school and life balance, but some people may have school, life, and work balance. But um, in general, school and life balance. Um, and advice to that is like what we've been saying, like having conversations not only about school, and have it be life-giving conversations. And I guess a harsh way to put it is have a life, but that's kind of too harsh for my liking to say. But um, yeah, I guess that's like the what it boils down to. Like, don't
Yeah.
like just don't have everything involved. Like, don't have everything involved or be for school. Like, I know that, like, especially in 11th and 12th grade when we're applying to colleges, or even in 10th grade when we're applying or starting to think about like SAT, college applications and all that, and like resume boosters, like going for extracurriculars. Yes, like having extracurriculars is important, but one thing that I've noticed is that with extracurriculars, it has to be with something that you're passionate with, or
Mm-hmm.
else it will be so easy to get burnt out. If you don't have a school life balance, then you're gonna get burnt out really
Yeah.
easy too. Um, and like for me, my extracurriculars that I was passionate about was like choir. Like, I was in a choir outside of school, and my work and all these other things. Like, I didn't do them for the resume booster. I
Mm-hmm.
did it because I was interested and
Yeah.
passionate about. So I think that's one piece of advice, is
Mm-hmm.
that like don't have everything just revolving around school.
Yeah.
But that is kind of like the reality that you're in, that we were in. Like, I mean, we're still in the reality of being in school, but
Yeah.
like that's not the main goal. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think a lot of my influence, or a lot of my thinking about how your identity is in school, is also part of my identity of being a Christian. So um that has influenced it a lot. But that being said, it does not negate anything I said, even if you're Christian or not. Like, that's still a reality where school shouldn't be your identity.
Yeah, I agree on that front. I think that kind of ties into what I was saying about making the most out of high school. Yes, in hindsight, you want to be prepared for when it comes around to your college applications. You want to have the things that you can talk about, but you don't want to go seeking these things. When you're looking for these things, you don't want to look for them with the mindset that, oh, if I do XYZ, then I can write a great essay for this particular college application and get in. You want to look for what you're passionate about and then use that passion to drive your essays.
Yeah.
Um, and just do things just for the sake of doing them. Do them
Mm-hmm.
because you want to do them.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of high schools here have the like volunteering programs like National Honor Society and things. A lot of people will do those because it is a resume booster, but find that enjoyment in actually volunteering and
Mm-hmm.
doing a service to somebody else. Find whatever that whatever brings you that sense of joy, and use that to really fuel what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And like Hannah said, don't just focus on things being a resume builder. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to help in the long run. And even now, as you also mentioned, as college students, that is something that we're always told. Don't do something because it looks good on your resume. Do it
Mm-hmm.
because you want to do it.
Yeah.
As you keep that in mind, also make sure, take time for yourself, take time to hang out with your friends,
Mm-hmm.
go on your school trips. Don't worry about missing a test or two. You have makeup days. Teachers will understand. Go on the school
Mm-hmm.
trips. Just enjoy yourself because,
Mm-hmm.
yes, school is hard. It's rough. But, you're never going to be ages 14 through 18 again. Might as well make the most of it while you have it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and as we've mentioned, grades, again, they don't define you. Take them as they come, grow from them. If you make a mistake, grow from your mistakes. Don't sit there don't let it consume you.
Mm-hmm.
Take it, accept it, and grow from it.
Mm-hmm.
And
and and and try your best, right? Like that, like we said before, like that's what matters, is the effort that you put into it. Yeah.
try your best. And even if it seems like it's not paying off at the moment, you will realize later on that it does, and
Mm-hmm.
that the things that you go through will help you
Mm-hmm.
in the future. Even if you don't see it right now, they will come back to help you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially like just about like tying it back to like an environment of high school we were in, like even though it was competitive, like that like helped us in preparing us for college. Like when we got into college, we were like, oh, this is, we can get used to this. This is not too different. I think we were prepared for this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And another thing, um, reach out, make connections with, aside from your friends, like talk to your teachers because they will always have something to share with you. And it doesn't have to just be about school. Talk to them about anything. If there's a new movie that came out, talk to them if they went and watched the movie, because I did that so many times. Usually it was them asking me.
Or eat lunch with them, like how
Or
we
eat lunch
ate
with them.
with our
Yeah.
math teacher, and they're making fun of me eating bread with the pork.
Make those connections because they will help you feel more comfortable reaching out for help.
Hmm.
And I think that's another thing. If you feel the need for help, reach out. Don't hesitate. You're not alone. And yeah, it's kind of cheesy, but really, we're all in this together.
Oh.
Everyone's here to support you.
Hmm.
So again, I guess I've said this about 5 times now, make the most of it.
Yeah. And I guess to wrap things together and to conclude things, like just to reiterate what we have learned, and looking back, like what we have learned, like I've said a million times in this podcast, like grades do not define you. Try your best and don't have school the center of your identity, because it's not. And find something you're passionate about.
Or explore things. I
Yeah.
think even if you're not, like, I think you and I, we were lucky to find where our passions and interests
Mm-hmm.
lie in high school, but it's not the case for everyone. But take that opportunity to explore the different
Mm-hmm.
avenues. If you wanted to try art, maybe take an art class. If
Mm-hmm.
if you think you're interested in bio, but you're not sure, take a bio class. You know,
Mm-hmm.
do do whatever because no, it's not here to hurt you.
Yeah.
Um, there are so many opportunities for you to explore things, and
Mm-hmm.
high school would be the easiest time to explore these things because you have slightly less responsibilities
Mm-hmm.
um, when compared to being in college or
Mm-hmm.
post college years, high
Mm-hmm.
school is the most free,
Mm-hmm.
I put that in quotes, free times for you to explore the different avenues and your different interests and see what really sticks.
Yeah.
And it's okay if it doesn't. You're here to explore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To go off of that, one last thing is that like tying that into how like your grades aren't your who you are. I know a lot of people choose not to take certain classes just because of the weight of the GPA. So do not let that control what classes you take, because you never know what experiences those that would bring. Like bringing in back my clinicals experience, like that class did not worth a lot, was not worth a lot GPA value wise, but experience wise it was so much value. Like you cannot put a grade to that experience, like you cannot put a number to that experience. So do not let that GPA number, it's just a number, choose whether or not you find something you're interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these were a couple of things that we've learned along the way of our 4 years of high school.
Yeah.
And some of these things we continue to learn in our years in college. Yeah.
Yeah. I think just all in all, be smart, make wise decisions, and enjoy it, I
Yeah.
think is all we have to say in like the most generalized terms.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that, I think we'll wrap up this week's episode. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch y'all in 2 weeks.
Bye. If you have any questions for us, email us at rewritethetimespodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and Facebook at Rewrite the Times.